this is Dale. Most recently, I was having this actually interesting conversation where someone's like, "Hey, Dale, when I look at a lot of your stuff in social media, it looks like you're you're really pursuing your passion. That like a lot of the stuff that you're doing is so diverse, but it seems like it's fulfilling and completing you." And as they say that, I kind of laughed a little bit, not because I was like, "Oh, look, I'm being acknowledged." I laughed because what I reflected on is the fact that like what I do, I try so hard to make sure that it's a representation of who I am and what I stand for. So in terms of the speaking, as a speaker, keynote presenter, someone that gets booked to speak at different settings and different places, that actually started when I was 11 and a half years old. I joined an organization called Youth with a Mission, where it was a performing art program where they did community outreach in very low-income neighborhoods all over America. And one of the staff members said, "Dale, your story is so unique. Can you please share your story to the community?" And during this time, it was a community in Chicago. It was an inner city community. And I told my story. I couldn't even really speak English well. I was only in the country for about a year and a half. And the whole entire time as I was telling the story, I was crying. And I saw how much that story impacted people. And then I went on to continue with the program for almost 11 years, where every summer I gave up my summer to go to different neighborhoods to tell my story. So that's where it started. It started surprisingly like on the street, community center, churches, summer program, where I started to tell my story. The older I got, the more I started realizing, oh wow, I feel like I can continue to hone in and develop this. One of the big things as a speaker for me, I've realized is I didn't want to just speak. I wanted to make sure that I'm doing stuff that then creates my presentation, where almost 75 to 85% of what I do is actually doing. So one good example is I've been involved with this after-school program called Bring It, located in Manchester, where I live, Manchester, New Hampshire. I've been involved with it for the last 10 years. And there, it's like my sandbox. I work with 12th graders all the way down to 4th graders. Most of our students are refugees and immigrants from all over the world. They come there. We have a dance program, soccer program, we have a homework club program, and we have a bunch of college kids from the local schools that come in and volunteer their time. So being there for 10 years, I get a firsthand experience of what inner city minority students and also immigrants and former refugees deal with. So being there for the last 10 years has equipped me so much to be able to work hands-on and advocate for issues that comes up from the students that I work with, but also the families. And then in terms of like the business side of stuff, I've been very fortunate to work for very innovative programs. So one of the first one was Southern New Hampshire University competency-based learning program. I was there for almost 4 years. My role was to work with this really innovative educators that came to build this program, focusing on adult learners. And it's a competency-based program to figure out how do you help adult learners showcase their skills and talent in a way that it's self-paced in order for them to get their college degree. And that became like an amazing experience for me, because one of my focus was really figuring out what learning success was going to look like. So we developed a coaching model, and we worked with our partners who were the employers and nonprofits that gave us students. So we had to, most of the time work with them in order to figure out what they needed to put in place in order to make sure that their students were succeeding. So that experience like expanded my skills and expertise, because we constantly were creating something that was so new. I saw the program go from 200 students all the way to over 5,000 students. And then most recently, I've worked with 2 startups. One was an education technology company, and then another one was an IoT management and security company called Minim. I was there for almost 2 years, and I started from the ground up. We're building a product where we thought that it was really for direct to consumer, and we realized that it was actually our management portal was really more for ISPs, internet service providers, and we completely shifted. And it was really cool to be hands-on and see, building this thing from scratch and, helping to put stuff in place that helped bring in some talent. And now, the company has acquired another IoT management security company, and it's good to see them doing well. So a big thing is about doing. You have to be doing. It's not just you sounding like you're an expert or you having, the expertise and having the answers and somebody hiring you to talk about it. It starts with you being plugged in the stuff that matters, developing the skills that you need, practicing and implementing and learning from it, and then working directly with people. I think one of the biggest thing about being a speaker is being able to work with people, understand what people's drivers are, what pushes them to succeed, and what holds them back from succeeding. And then when you're presenting, you're thinking about them and you're catering your presentation to them. So sorry for a long video. Persevere to excel. Go get it.